Joe Joyce seems set to face Daniel Dubois for the British Heavyweight Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Remstar Says So. So let's get right into this one, guys. I am shocked. This is a fight that had been called for about a month ago, um, but I never thought it was ever going to happen. But from what I've read in various several sources, even the BBC are now sort of writing on this. Joe Joyce has agreed to fight Daniel Dubois, which looks like it's going to be a showdown probably sometime in about July. I'm going to assume Daniel Dubois has got a fight in May, which is a bit of a knockover job. And as long as he comes through that, he'll be fighting Joe Joyce and probably headlining at the O2. This is a fight that I absolutely love. I can't wait for this actually. You've got two upcoming British prospects, and most of the time when it comes to British prospects, especially at this sort of early level, you're sort of told you've got to wait. It's going to happen sometime down the line, but we've got two guys that are going to get it on. Hopefully, as long as the money's agreed. I'm a bit surprised because Joe Joyce had been mandated to fight Ajit Kabial for the European title, and I thought that that was a more realistic fight for Joe Joyce, especially for somebody of his age, with the trajectory that he's trying to achieve. Like with Daniel Dubois, even him, I could say that fighting for the British title was probably a few steps too early for the 21-year-old heavyweight prospect. He's had 10 fights, he's won all 10 of them, he's won 9 via knockout. And the fact is, because he's only 21 years old, Daniel Dubois could literally spend the next 4 years honing his craft, because we all know that he never had many sort of amateur fights sort of before he came into the professional ranks. Joe Joyce is the guy where Father Time is sort of against him. But, what can I say? Daniel Dubois, no, he's got a fight this weekend against Richard Lartey, which he will definitely sort of be the favourite for, a 10 rounder at the Wembley Arena. And yeah, if he comes through that, then, we should get to see Dubois versus Joe Joyce. This is a great fight. Like, really, I'm actually really excited for it. Daniel Dubois, 10 fights, 10 wins. And I think Joe Joyce, I believe, is 8-0. So yeah, this would be a great fight. A lot of people think that it's a bit of a backward step for Joe Joyce, especially for somebody who's 34 years old, who plans on sort of challenging for the World Heavyweight Championships, against the likes of Wilders and AJ's. And I stand corrected. Joe Joyce is 33. He'll be 34 in September. They're both about the same height, 6'5" ish. And Joe Joyce, 8 fights, 8 wins, 8 knockouts. Joe Joyce's last fight was against Bermain Stavern, and I actually gave him quite a hard time, even though this was only his eighth fight. I don't know why, but when it comes to Joe Joyce, I just expect a lot more. But what I need to understand is that he's still new to the paid ranks, and he's still trying to find his feet. But he took out former world heavyweight champion Bermain Stavern in 6 rounds. I think it's maybe because Deontay Wilder made mincemeat of him in less than a round. So, I was expecting him to do it in about 3 or 4, and he took him until like midway through the 6th round. But it is a fight I want to see. Stylistically, Dubois, he's the powerhouse and he's the big puncher, and Joe Joyce is definitely more of a boxer out of the two of them. Both fighters, you can argue, are actually quite stiff. Some people think that Joe Joyce is boring. Some people say that Dubois is boring, and there's not going to be much sort of movement between the two of them. But if you like a good old sort of heavyweight slugfest, two guys going in there and sort of leaving it all on the table, this is the fight that you definitely want to sort of tune into. I called a couple of my mates earlier today, and I was like, look, if this fight is definitely happening, I'm getting tickets and I'm going down to the O2, because I definitely want to see these two heavyweight juggernauts sort of go at it. because I'd love to see what happens. I mean, I think if anybody could afford the loss, it would definitely be Dubois, who's only 21 years old with age on his side. With Joe Joyce now, if he was to lose to Daniel Dubois, that might be it. He might be fucked, especially in this era where, a lot of people seem to think that if somebody takes one loss, they're trash, they're rubbish, they're just to be sort of forgotten about. I think the likes of Floyd Mayweather definitely sort of taken this undefeated thing and made way too much about it. When you think about all of like the great boxers before, everybody took losses because everybody fought everybody. There was no ducking and diving back then. I'm pretty sure Muhammad Ali, who some people call the greatest fighter of all time, I think he's got about 8 losses on his record. So, I think it's nice that we're getting this one out of the way. Maybe we might get to see the likes of Anthony Yard fight Joshua Buatsi, but don't bank on it. But yeah, this is a great fight. Like, who would I favour? I don't actually know. I don't know. Daniel Dubois being the younger, fresher guy with more power, I'd like to think that if he's throwing the right hand, whether he knocks him out or not, the judges will definitely sort of favour that. But, Joe Joyce, he's got that stellar amateur background. He got silver at the 2016 Olympic Games. And, he's been in there with the likes of Usyk at amateur level, and he's already fought a former heavyweight champion. You could argue that Joe Joyce has got more pedigree on his CV or resume, but yeah, this is definitely sort of the sort of fight that I want to see. In fact, even on his Wikipedia, it's already on there for the 13th of July. So looks like this one's a go. I'm definitely gonna have to get down there and see what happens. Like when you look at Joe Joyce, he's beaten the likes of Lenroy Thomas. He beat Ian Lewison on his debut. This is a guy that Dillian White went 10 rounds with. Joe Joyce knocks him out on 8 on his debut, and yeah, he's just been sort of climbing the ranks fairly quickly. What can I say? He's been out once this year against Bermain Stavern, and I just want this fight to happen. Like, this should show the likes of AJ and Wilder and Fury that, stop ducking and diving behind politics. But I guess it's a little bit different. Joe Joyce is a free agent and Daniel Dubois is signed to Frank Warren. So I guess this just makes this one a bit easier to do. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to try and get down to the O2 and watch this one. I'm going to make a suggestion. I'll make my prediction. I'm going to go for Daniel Dubois to win. I don't know how, whether it's points or by stoppage, but I'll pick Dubois. Maybe closer to the time I'll change my mind. We never know. I'll see how Daniel Dubois gets on against Richard Lartey, and then we'll see if Joe Joyce gets a little knockover fight before that fight as well. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Who do you think is going to win this one? Are you Team Dubois? Are you Team Joe Joyce? Or are you sat on the fence? Do you not really give a shit? Do you think this is a backward step for Joe Joyce as well? Leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe, share this video. That's the end of the show because Remstar says so. Thank you.